Well, hello there. My name is Mark Miles. I love helping trainers, presenters, workshop facilitators, you know the deal, taking the results to the next level. Now, in today's video, I want to talk to you about how you can set up your environment for the best success if you are running a workshop or if you're running a training session in a face-to-face environment. This is something we don't talk about very much, but is critically important if we actually want to have a successful session. And at the end of the day, the environment will really determine how safe people feel. And if people don't feel safe, they are not going to feel willing to actually participate and dive deep into the learning experience and immerse themselves into the transformation that you as a trainer are looking to create there. So I want to talk to you about seven simple things that you can do in order to maximize the, I guess, efficiency and also maximize the productivity of the environment that you actually create, right? Now, these are seven simple things that you can do. Very simple, but if you don't do them, you're going to find that your participants are more distracted. You're going to find that your participants are just not going to be able to actively focus, and actually it's going to be a lot harder for you as a trainer or presenter actually get people involved and doing what's actually required in your training session. So number one's a very simple one, but I still see people not doing it, right? And you probably want to grab a pen and write these down because they are going to be significant in regards to the results that you get. Number one, close the door. Close the door. I'll say it more dry if I can. Close the door. What a crazy idea, folks. Now, this one was really shared with me in a very cool way, very early on in my career. And basically, my mentor, when I was learning public speaking, he said, everything in a learning environment is energy. Everything is energy. And you want to contain the energy in the room. And if you got the door open, then you're going to find the energy is going to be bleeding out the room and it's going to be flowing out when you really want to contain the energy in the room. And that's a great idea. And the other thing is, if you don't close at all, then people can think that it's okay to walk out anytime. People can think it's okay to walk in anytime. And it can be a real sense of, I don't know, we're just letting it flow when really we want people focused, we want the energy in the room, and the intensity is contained, right? So, number one, silliest one, craziest one, but most important one, close the door. Close the door, right? So, number two, set up of the room. Set up. Ideally, if you can aim for U shape, that's going to be the best. Why? Because you can walk through the rows and you can connect with different individuals. Now, however you set up the room, ideally, the more you can actually physically connect with the people, the better. So if you have to go rows wise, where you got rows, that's okay, right? But as long as you, as a presenter or a workshop facilitator, can actually walk through and actually connect with the individuals, that's the most important thing, right? Now, the opposite to that is the lecture style or the theatre style, which is okay, but it does mean that it's a lot harder for you to actually connect with each individual because you've got to walk up the whole thing, right? So you just want to be able to set up your room. Ideally, it's going to depend on how many people are in your workshop event, but just think about how can you create an environment where there is minimal barriers between you and the audience and where you can actually see them and potentially connect with them on an emotional level or even, have conversations with them. Another part of that is ideally do not have barriers between you and the audience. So ideally, if you can remove a lectern, if you can remove a desk that you're standing behind, right? Good idea, because any barrier is going to be a physical, mental, and emotional barrier between you and the audience. It's going to be harder for you to build rapport with the audience, right? So let's recap. Number one, close the door. Number two is ideally U shape or set up the room in a way that's easy for you to physically connect with the audience. Number three, ideally laptops, close them. Laptops, close them, laptop, close them. All right, now the thing is, ideally, you want to be walking into a room and taking ownership of that environment. And one thing I always look to do is tell people to close their laptops. Why? Because I know, yes, I know some people don't like to take notes. I know some people like to type up their notes. I know, and I'm also aware that the more opportunity someone has to check their email, check their Facebook, check their Twitter, the more they're going to do it, right? And I know that the more opportunities they've got for people to have their focus taken away, the more that's going to happen, right? So ideally, if someone's got a laptop open, I'm going to request that they close them. Unless it is something that we're actually doing as part of the workshop where they actually need the laptop open, I'm going to say close it for now. When we get to stuff where you will need it, I'll tell you to open it, right? Amateurs will allow people to keep their laptops open. Pros go, all right, cool. Let's get people focused. Let's get them doing what I want them to do so they get the best result possible. Because you are the expert on the environment. You're the expert on what the workshop is actually going to achieve. So take control of the environment. Tell them to close it. If you've got issues with that, drop a comment in the chat or in the comments below. But at the end of the day, I have never come across really a scenario where I couldn't tell someone to close it and at least be willing to open it up later on when they actually needed it, right? And the other thing is, scientifically, people actually get more out of it cognitively when they're taking notes by hand, right? But let's just keep the scientific stuff aside for a moment, right? So next one. Ideally, minimal outside noise, right? I was once delivering a workshop in Perth, and unluckily, there was actually a construction site right next to the hotel where I was actually delivering training. And the other part of it though was, so like we tried to close the windows, but the hotel was actually repainting one of the rooms right next to us, right? So we had a bit of a situation where we couldn't actually close the window because of the fumes from the painting. But then on the flip side, we couldn't deal with the noise from outside. So what did we do? I told the hotel venue that we needed a new setup, and we got that sorted and organized there. But yeah, it was a bit of a double whammy there, right? So you do need to be careful about noise outside. And that leads to the next point. Number 5 here is close the curtains. Close the curtains, right? You want to make sure that people cannot actually see outside the window because they're going to be watching what's happening outside the window and not listening to what you're actually delivering and talking about. So ideally, close the curtains so they are fully focused on what they're doing, fully focused on what you're saying, right? You can certainly at break times encourage them to walk outside, get some fresh air and do all that stuff. But while they're learning, close the curtains, right? Next one. This is a bit of a funny one. Trainers, presenters, workshop facilitators that actually walk past the screen and they'll have a screen behind them and they'll walk past the screen and the audience can't see the screen or what's going on behind them. But also then there is a shadow that's left on the screen, right? I know it's a bit of a silly thing to do, but presenters, trainers do it. But also they do it because they're set up of the room. So ideally, if you can set it up so that at no time or in no context you are ever going to be caught walking past the screen, or if you are going to walk past the screen, turn the screen off. Crazy idea, right? But turn the screen off because it's going to be distracting if you do walk past it and people can't see it. Yeah, so think about how can you set up your room so that people are not blocked when you walk past it. And ideally, if you can have 2 screens, like 2 projectors on one side and the other side, you're cooking, you're rocking and rolling. However, budget-wise, most situations don't allow for that. So just my advice is set it up in a way that you're never going to walk past it. If you do walk past it, walk behind it, or even better, turn the screen off when you're going to walk past it. Right? Crazy idea. Now, the last one is music. I highly recommend playing music in any workshop you run. And if you want to find out more about music, how to play it, how to choose songs and all that fun stuff and what not to do, check out my other video on music in workshops. At the end of the day, if you don't play music, it's a very dry, it's a very quiet, it's a very, I guess, bland experience for your learners. So if you can add music to your workshop, highly recommend that you do it. There's a lot of things to think about though when you do it, and highly recommend that you experiment with different music types and the best songs for the best activities and all that fun stuff to think about. But do encourage add music to your events and add music to different activities and different things that you're doing. I'll touch on it for a couple of seconds here. You want to have a start of day song. Definitely have a start of day song. You want to have a go-to break song. All right, go-to break time. Now is we're going to break, so you have a song for that, all right? And you want to have a comeback from break song. Really helps to manage the group. Next, you want to have an end of day song. Really, really cool. And I won't talk about what type of song, but anyway, you want to have a comeback from you want to have a comeback from break and an end of day song. And last of all, you want to be thinking about a couple of songs to set the mood. So that could be a song to get people to think deeply and reflect song. You want to have a pump up song as well to get people really excited just before they do something or they have a breakthrough or after they've had a breakthrough as well there, right? So on that note, let's recap. What have we got here? Controlling your environment as a trainer, as a workshop facilitator. Number one, shut the door. Shut the door. Right? Number two, U-shape or rows. Do it in a way that you can connect with people. Number three, close the laptops. Get people to close their laptops. Next, minimize outside noise or outside distractions and close the curtains. Close the curtains. Next, don't walk past the screen. I'm going to move. Don't do it. You look weird. You look silly. You look like you don't know what you're doing. And last of all, add in music where appropriate. And there's certainly a number of things to think about there with royalties and all that fun stuff. But anyway, if you want to know more about that, watch the other video. On that note, folks, thanks for watching the video. And as always, like, comment, share. Let's get the message out there about how you, as a trainer workshop facilitator, can really set up your training room for optimal success. Thanks for watching, team, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.